Do, 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 do. Hey y'all, come on in. I'm gonna have a little conversation with y'all. Tell y'all a little bit of something about myself. So I'm just gonna wait a little while for some people to come in. Hi guys, Toya Tarot. Toya's talking, baby. Okay, I'm gonna just start talking because it's Saturday and I don't expect anybody to be up on this video. Somebody will watch it later on though. It's for a message for someone or maybe something to let someone know that they're not alone in this situation. So the title of this video is "Oh shit, I told oh ish." Excuse me, YouTube. Oh ish, I can communicate with dead people. So I'm just let you know how this came about. Okay, so I was about 5 years old when I remember being contacted by spirit or being contacted by spirit and also uh, speaking to people that are no longer here. I'm in my house chilling. Yes, I wear glasses. Yeah. So, and I'm bald headed, and I'm gonna just so y'all know, I'm gonna write that down. Is for the duration of our relationship together. Subscriber, my subbies. Okay, I will be changing my hair very much because I do it very much. I'm Gemini Sun, and I'm just I gotta pay attention. I gotta give love to all of my multiple sides. So my hair will change very often. Yeah, so about 5 years old, I started noticing that is when I started noticing that certain low vibrational energies were around the house that I was staying in at the time. We had moved into this house. I'll never forget. It's like it was a blue ranch house. I'll say a blue ranch house. And my mother gave me the biggest room with its own bathroom in it and everything. Child, I was so happy. Okay, I was so happy. I was like, yes, this is my room. The window faced this corner store, like that was around the way or whatever. I'm from Mississippi, so it's the South. So it was a store right next door to the house. So basically, quickly, I didn't like that room. One night, one night in that room, and I seen dark shadows passing the window, running back and forth past the window. I seen them running in, through my house, through my room, going in the bathroom, going in my closet, like just giving me the worst time. Like I was so terrified of that freaking room. I didn't understand what the hell I was going through or what was going on. I was like 5 years old. So why the hell am I? What is that? I didn't understand it. Okay. So, yeah, long story short, I never slept in that room. I did not sleep. I got up. As soon as the sun came up, I was so happy. I ran out and I just didn't get any sleep. Um, and in that living room either. That house just had a lot going on now that I think about it. But in the living room either. Um, that was like probably like my first experience with sleep paralysis. Now that I think about it. But anyway, so my first encounter with spirit after they've passed on, a transition, I like to call it, because I don't feel like anyone dies, especially since I can communicate with people that are no longer here. They just transition into a different form. Okay. Um, yeah. So I was about 5 years old. Two of my cousins were murdered. Um, and they were around. We were all around the same age. We used to play together all the time and stuff like that. So they were murdered. Um, And the day that they were killed, the day that they did die, peace to Ben, Carl, and Fifi, and rest in peace to my Aunt Connie, who was their mom. She just recently transitioned. But, yeah. So, they had passed away, and there was a doll. I don't know if anybody knows about these dolls, called Cricket dolls. The Cricket dolls, like, they were, like, so expensive, and they talked, and they batted their eyes, and they, like, kind of were like a real thing, like a real kind of friend, so to speak. So my cousin and I, Fifi, used to play with this doll together, and she used to always ask me to watch her doll. And she would leave the doll over to my house, and it was like me babysitting and stuff like that. So, that's what we used to do. And this particular time, um, we always used to do that. I was like, oh my God, I love the doll. I wanted one of them so bad and stuff like that. And this particular time, I was in a sleep state. I believe I was sleeping. That's I believe I was sleeping, but in the dream she came to me, and it seemed like I wasn't dreaming, which I might not have been. I'm not sure. Still trying to figure that out. But she came to me in the dream with the doll, right? Dressed in all white, like, and my cousins, all of us, well, I didn't get a chance to really do it. That's another story as far as why I wasn't in Mississippi for very long after this. But um, I she was dressed in all white, like she was going to do a pageant. She was really pretty. Hair was done. She looked beautiful, and she had this glow about her. And then her brother was standing behind her. My cousin Benny Carl, who is the other child who was taken from my aunt by someone. I do not want to say who it was, because y'all don't need to know my life like that. And maybe one day if I write a book, it'll be in there. But um, yeah, and plus I'm not giving energy to someone that would do such a heinous thing. Um, in spirit form or not. So anyway, she was handing me the doll. She had the doll. She told me, I'm going to give you this doll. Um, Mommy's going to come bring it over. You have to watch it because I'm going to be gone for a long time. And I'm like, well, dag, how long is the pageant? Like, I'm asking her, like, oh, I'm so happy. She was like, you can have it. You just got to take care of it. Da, 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 da. And my cousin is in the background, but he's not saying much of anything. He's just dressed. He's in all white also. He's has a glow behind him. And I'm like, oh my God, you look so pretty. You're going to win. I'm just talking to her regular like we normally would talk. I had no idea. So she tells me she still has a doll in her hand. She says her mom's gonna bring it back, right? So I'm like, okay, fine. So I wake up or whatever have you, the dream ends or the visitation ends. They walk into this light, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so excited. So I go and I tell my mom. Now, my mom might not remember this. A lot of things, again, another situation that I'm probably going to talk about sometime later in my YouTube career, so to speak. And if I put it in the book, that would be there as well. But, yeah, so my mom might not remember every part of it, especially around that time frame. But I was telling my mother, and I spoke to her. She said she did remember, but maybe not the details so much. But I told her that my cousin told me. Now this is before cell phones. This is before all of that stuff. When there was house phones, so if somebody called, the phone would ring. Okay. So I said to her, "Mommy, Vivi came to me and she told me that Auntie Connie was gonna bring me the doll and let me keep the doll for a long time because she has a pageant to do." Of course, I don't understand what the heck was going on. I thought she was going to a pageant. So she has a pageant to do, and she's gonna let me have the doll, and I can have the cricket doll, the one I always wanted or whatever. I was so excited, and I'm like, and Benny Carl's gonna have her bring the kite. Now my sister used to play with this kite with my boy cousin, right? They used to play with this kite outside. My sister was very tomboyish or whatever back in the day. She's not that way now, but she was. So they used to play with the kite, and me and Fifi used to play with the baby doll. So I said, she said she's going to bring it over, and Auntie Connie's going to bring the doll. Now, one of my other aunts was there. One of my other aunts was there at the time with my mom. Both of them had this look on their face, like, they were like terrified, like, and I'm looking at them like, okay, this is good. Okay, I'm 5. I'm getting a doll I want. Like, what is y'all problem? Why y'all tripping? That's okay. That's what I was, at the time. Why y'all tripping? And they just looked at me, and they like my mother, both of them, tears was welling up in their eyes, and they kept asking me, like, what does she look like, and when did this happen, and da da da. I'm like, it just happened just now, and da da. So, a little unbeknownst to me, it had just aired on the news that they were killed, and the situation that had happened, right? And they were not, they were trying to figure out how to tell me, they were trying to figure out how to tell my sister, and just like process all of this that's just happened, honestly. So they're like, you know already like upset and sad about what happened to my cousins, but they weren't sure how to like express it to me. Here I am telling them that my cousins that are no longer here anymore are going to bring these dolls and stuff like that, and then, they're just like, okay, well, that's when they tell me, um, baby, Fifi and Benny Carl died this morning. They were killed. And I'm like, no, they weren't. They were just in my room. We was just hanging out. She just told me I was gonna get the doll. Like, what are you talking? Like, ma, okay, she's dead. Okay, and I walk away. I was a little, something else when I was little. Of course, I really was. And I'm a mother of four girls now, and my mother says that God couldn't put me into one child again. He had to divide me up into four people. So you can just imagine how much of a mess I was. So I'm looking at her like, no, but okay, mommy. I, yeah, they're not here anymore. And yeah, so they were like, crying and like, oh my God, what's going on? And I'm like, listen, that's what happened. Shortly after that, my aunt rang the doorbell. Probably like I would say a little while after that. I'm not sure if it was a couple of days. I had no concept of time at this time, so it could have been a couple of days after it happened, or a day after it happened, or a couple of hours for all I know. All I know is my aunt rang the doorbell with the baby doll in her hand and the kite for my sister. And she said to me, Fifi wanted you to have this. I said, I know. She told me. My aunt was like, what? And of course, you lose two of your children, your only children. You're not going to be able to process what the hell just happened or what I just said. So, of course, she was just like, okay, baby, well, she wanted you to have this, and, basically, telling me that she's gone. And I'm getting a message from you now. So, and just basically, just she gave me the kite, and my mother is like, Toya just told, like, I guess she must have told her what happened. I'm not exactly sure. But I was also very close to my aunt, and I used to go over there and hang out, and she used to like, make me up and do my hair and do like all of this super girly stuff and get me ready for pageants and all of this other stuff. And so I was very close to her. I used to be over there a lot of times babysitting my cousins and combing hair, my cousin Fifi's hair because she was younger than me. And it was just like them being gone was not a concept to me because I felt them in spirit. Everybody else was like, oh my God, I was, that they passed away and they were sad, of course. But I was different, you know. I didn't know. I still didn't know at that time. I had no idea. Yeah. So that's my first encounter, my first like encounter with spirit as far as I could remember, you know, and different energies and things like that. Also, I called out the name of Jesus because I tell you guys what my, in my last video, I'll let you guys know my religion. But I called that out and they ran the dark energies. So for maybe that's for someone else that maybe believes, or maybe it could be that you just believe in God, whatever it is that you believe in, call out the name of the higher being, and they tend to flee. So that's for some people that may have sleep paralysis. It's not easy to do that. Once you learn how to control your mind enough to say it in your mind or in your spirit, that would be something that would be helpful for anybody that's dealing with that sleep paralysis or, you know, dark energies being around you, you know. So yeah, so that's my first encounter. And going forward after that, they came to me in the form of two butterflies. On my YouTube page, like the backdrop, you'll see it's two butterflies because that just reminds me of them. It's my first encounter with spirit, and knowing that they did not die; they just transformed into a different version of themselves. They are always around. Anyone that is no longer here is always around. They are not gone. They did not die. They just transformed into a different form. You know, into the light. Basically, their spirit is ever present, and it will live on. Um, so yeah, that was my first encounter. So yeah, so after a while, I started to realize that when I got older, I would get, sleep paralysis if I was around a bad person. I would feel anxiety around a person. I started to be very discerning very early on. Not that I listened, because a lot of situations I went through, um, I knew. Let's just say I knew that they were not good people, and I kind of empath. We trust people a little bit too much, and not even just that. Um, they latch onto us for healing or try to get some kind of healing. So a lot of times bad people come to us because they don't necessarily want to be bad in spirit. In their spirit, it's just that they don't even they're fighting something, spiritually. So yeah, I became being very discerning for that. Whenever people would pass, a lot of people would look to me like, for some kind of strength, because I didn't tend to cry very much. Um, you know, and I would try to like let everybody know that they're not gone. They're just gone physically, but they're not gone spiritually from here. Um, as I told you guys before, my grandmother was a very integral part in my spirituality or my spiritual strength or even understanding what I was going through. And I'm not sure, I didn't verbally tell her that I had this gift. I do believe that she knew. Um, she would just say things to me like I was a healer. I was I was a healer, or that that people are going to need me when they lose someone, or even when they lost her, that they would need me, that my mom would need me, and things like that, because I see, that's what she would tell me, because I see, and I know that she's not gone, that she's just, you know, in her rightful home, so to speak. And she always tell me, don't cry for me when I leave. Cry for your children that are still here. Cry for yourself, because you have to deal with this strife and the pain of living in this physical world, and all the bad that is in it. So I really 100% in my heart know that she knew. Um, so, long story short, I walk around and I am around people. Prime example, I was talking to my mother the other day, and she was talking about Teresa Computer and how she goes around, and she's basically a prophetess, and she has a spiritual gift to be in communication with spirit and things like that. Um, my mother is a missionary, so it's a lot of the things that I might believe in. She believes in them. However, it's verbalized differently because of the fact that she doesn't believe in psychics. She believes in prophets, or she doesn't believe in talking to like mediums. She believes in, again, a someone that has a spiritual gift to be in contact with spirit. They believe in the Holy Spirit. They believe in talking in tongues, and that's channeling. Different things like that. So she believes in that. So long story short, I have been like this my whole life. When people pass away, I get visitations from them. They tell me what they need me to know. A lot of times, I know how they passed. and that we have a conversation. I'm no longer afraid of them. I used to be. At first, I will say, I won't even tell a lie. For the majority of my life, I have been ignoring them. I go on about my day as long as it's not something that is not of God, something that's low vibrational. Then I gotta pray they behinds away from me. Okay. Then I mean, they don't tend to try to communicate with me. Low vibrational energy does not attempt to communicate with me. They are just around trying to cause havoc. They try to cause havoc. They don't try to communicate with me. They can't. Okay. A lot of times their attack is more worldly than spiritually. And if they attempt spiritually, I know how to tell them to stand back and behave. So they don't come for me in that way because they don't want the smoke, sage smoke to be exact. But anywho, I get visitations and they're around me. A lot of times I will speak to them. I try to give messages because I know everybody's not receptive to it, so I don't always say something. I say something more now since I've been awakened and since I, went to the reader that I went to. I'll explain that in a minute. Um, yeah, so it's just been a journey. At this point, now it's like, okay, upon the passing of my grandmother, she told me that basically when she leaves, she's going to drop me off some of her gifts, and the gifts that I already have are going to be heightened, right? There, throughout the course of our relationship developing, because again, I didn't always remember my grandmother in New York because my grandmother, I was born in Mississippi until about 9 years old. A tragedy happened, and then I ended up having to move to New York. At that time, my grandmother introduced me to a relationship with God and a relationship with spirits and things like that, and advised me of gifts that I, might not have wanted to pay attention to. And just, was just like my spiritual advisor, honestly. That's what she was. And that's what she still is, even, in the absence of her physically. Spiritually, she still guides me. So I'm very thankful for that. But yeah, um, at the time of her passing, I literally felt her pass through me spiritually, drop off whatever it was. Immediately, I started to have a panic attack. All I could feel everything. It was like, oh my God, like I felt like my head was gonna explode. You know, this tingling in the back of my head. I can smell different things. Immediately, I began to burn sage and cleanse the house and things like that. Because again, I can't. I want her transition to be smooth. I particularly let her know that it was okay to go. Thank her so much. I thanked her for everything that she's done, all of the wisdoms that she imparted in me and all of her grandkids and her children, because she was just amazing here on earth physically. She did a job well done preparing all of us for her transition. And also, she did a job well done by introducing each and every one of us to the great I am. Okay. So I just had a conversation. I let her know. She came to me on her way leaving by dragging a balloon from Valentine's Day from my fiance all the way from one side of the room to above my head. I decided that I wasn't going to feed into it. I'm like, that's, I sensed it was, that it was grandma. But I was like, yeah, okay. I said, Grandma, if this is you, I'm going to pull this balloon all the way back over there. And if it's you, you bring it back to me. And so that way I know it's you. And sure enough, I put it over there and it it almost was like somebody grabbed it and pulled it right back over and then put it over my head and spun it around. It said, I love you. And it was right above my head, repeatedly spinning around. And I said, I love you and I'm going to miss you here physically, but just stay around me spiritually. And I said, I'm going to light this sage. I'm lighting this sage. And every time you come to me, I want to either smell you or hear you or feel you. So from then on, she's come, I smell sage, or I feel her rub my hands or rub my arm, which is what she used to do all the time. Because she said that I had healing hands. My hands were always hot. They still are. Very seldom are they cold. She told me how many people I was going to help. She made me promise that I was going to help. Um, and I said, if you come or when you're coming, please just stop through. She used to come to my house. Every time she came, she would bring blessed oil and pray over my home and my children. She would go up and down the stairs. She would pray over the doorknobs, over the doorways, over the windows. Just, I mean, just amazing. And it was just this wonderful, light, airy spirit that followed her coming here. So that is what happens now. I can hear her going up and down the stairs. I can hear the doors opening. Even my children can hear it. Um, yeah. But long story short, ignoring spirit has not been healthy for me. Okay, so once the awakening happened, I began having panic attacks and started thinking I was really, really ill. Not the case. My fiance, who I love very much, who I'm very thankful for, um, took me to get a reading from, um, and I'm sorry, I'm just gonna plug this because now it's going dead on me. Go figure. But took me to get a reading from a reader, and basically, I was apprehensive. I didn't know anything about it. I was like, I don't know, but I just prayed about it and asked God to, like, if my spirit is comfortable, then let if it's not good, my spirit will know and I will leave. And if it is of God or if it is a gift from God that she has, that she's giving me a a message from spirit for, that she would tell me things I already know, and that she would tell me things I already know, and that she would then tell me things that I need to know. And that's exactly what happened. She said, "Why are you not doing this? Why are you not? This is your calling. You're a healer, but you knew this already, and you're ignoring spirit. Why do you ignore spirit? They're trying to tell you something. They're trying to tell you messages. They're trying to communicate with you. They're everywhere. They're all around you. You're very protected, and they're everywhere. And you're ignoring them. You're gonna keep having panic attacks until you do." I'm like, what? Like, nobody knew. I didn't come in here telling this lady, like, I'm having panic attacks. Why am I having panic attacks? She's like, you're not gonna stop having them until you tell you listen to spirit, until you answer your call. So yeah, needless to say, I began doing that. I still have them. They're connected to something. They're connected to a message that I need to give out or receive, and I'm understanding that more and more now. I'm extremely empathic. I can feel people's sadness. I can feel people physical pains. I can feel panic attacks. Um, I can feel I can feel an argument coming on. It's just been, since she's gone, exactly what she said to happen has happened. I can feel everything. Okay. Um, and I'm grateful for it now. I was very afraid of it. Even the tarot, I was like, I'm not doing what? I'm a Christian. Why would I do that? Let me tell you something. That is the that bridges the gap between me, God, spirit, and me. Okay? I'm a human. I see things here. I need to see things visually sometimes in order to get all the way clear on the message that I'm receiving. Okay, spirit speaks to me. I feel things from spirit. I might see things from spirit. And I still won't be able to put it together as well as I would if I'm shuffling the cards and I'm asking for answers. I'm praying. I'm meditating. They just kind of like fall out, jump out of the deck and fall onto the thing. And then if I'm still not clear, the tarot, because I use oracle cards. Oracle cards are what I use primarily. So I read oracle cards. Tarot is just to clarify whatever the oracle card is saying if I'm not getting the message from just looking at the card, or if it's not clear enough to me, because I need for my messages to be clear. Okay, so that's pretty much what happened. That's how it came about. This is something that I am working with every day, and I'm just so thankful that you guys have subscribed and that you are going to be here on this journey with me, and that I'm not alone. I pray that I'm able to help as many people as possible. I pray that I'm able to uh, just be a beacon of light or an example to everybody that not everything that you were told is negative about spirituality and the practices of spirituality or the honing in of gifts. Not everything that you were told is bad. Everything has an intent behind it. You can go to church every Sunday, but if your pastor is bad, your shepherd is bad, and you're following the teachings of someone that is not good, okay, then you're not getting the right teachings, and it's not the right message. Just like a reader, you can go to 10 million readers. If they are bad or they're trying to do things to harm people, then that's what, it's not good. It's all about the intent. So I read oracle, I read tarot, I read people, I give messages. I do not like to call myself a medium only because spirit gives me messages when they want to give me messages. And I don't want anyone coming into my readings expecting to hear from their loved ones. A lot of times loved ones don't really have anything. If they have something to say, they'll say it. A lot of times they see you every day. They're walking with you every day. They are seeing your life. They're seeing what's going on. They know what's going to, that's what's ahead of you. And they will not give you a message unless they absolutely feel like you're not getting it. A lot of times, the message that I get from spirit is that they want them to reconnect with God or their higher power. Because when you disconnect from spirit, you disconnect from them. So you can't hear them effectively when they're trying to give you messages or trying to guide you if you're disconnected from your higher self. So that's the only advice I have for someone that maybe they lost a loved one and they're not getting any visitations and they really just want to get them. Reconnect to the part of you that is where they are. You know, they're not here physically. So if you're just trying to stay in the physical world, then woe is you, because you're not going to get the messages that you seek. And then you'll be very scared of them also. Okay, so that is all that I got, guys, my love bugs for Toya Tarot this time. Whenever I'm led to, do another recording, I will. Okay, thank you so much for watching. I love you guys. Please subscribe to Toya Tarot, share, and please comment. Anybody that's going through this, anyone, all of my intuitives, let me know, your story if you care to share. Thank you so much for watching, and till next time, peace. Oh, and go look at the March Toya Tarot reads, the love reads or whatever that I uploaded. Like, share, and subscribe on that as well. I'm on Facebook at Toya Tarot, on Instagram Toya Tarot. My personal readings, my private readings are $30. You would download Cash App for my money. Okay, it's like the payment would be received through Cash App. Email me at toyatarot@gmail.com, and then we'll set up a time frame for the reading or whatever kind of reading or whatever kind of information I may need from you. And that would be about it. Thank you so much.